Hello, I'm Specialist Gano, Area 3 Boss Treasurer, here with First Sergeant Vasquez of HHC United States Army Garrison Company. Welcome to our virtual SRB reading class.
Good afternoon, viewers. I'm First Sergeant Vasquez. Once again giving you a brief on sections on the SRB. So this afternoon we'll be covering section 4, 5, and 6. Section 4 covers personal and family data. So this is a portion where the Army is going to input information as far as you being married, your date of birth, sex or race. Currently right now the Army has established a new regulation where your sex or gender it's covered in order to just look at everything of the admin portion in there. But when you go onto the Army AKO website and you try to pull your SRB, you could still have it print out with the information in there or not covered in there. So it's up to your discretion whether you want it printed or not. More things that you'll see on personal and family data will be if service members, in this case, it's married. So they'll account that as sponsors, whether it's a wife or a child. We'll talk about your religion. Once again, marital status, whether single or married. We'll have some information on your, in this case, about your wife, if your spouse, birthplace, EFMP, which is nothing more than Exceptional Family Member Program. That's when a family from the service member needs some extra help from not only from the defense standpoint from the Army, but also civilian organizations where it can be something as a service member has a kid who's actually in a wheelchair. So based on the housing that the installation has, they'll accommodate those needs. So that's the main meaning for EFMP. Moving along, we're actually going to talk about your last physical exam. Every service member requires a physical exam every year. You know, have the date in there, let alone with your police, which is nothing more how the Army, in this case the medical section, goes about describing if you have some type of profile, whether it's upper or lower, etc., through your body. It'll also have your height and weight put in there. Physical category, and then go in your MRC, your medical readiness classification. So medical readiness classification is going to be from 1 through 4, which is something that the first on the command teams work really hard to ensure that all their soldiers have done their dental exam every year, or anything medical, any medical points need to be done in order for the classification of the MRC to be at least lower than 2. When you have a 4, it makes that service member non-deployable. So that's one of the things that, you know, we looked at every single month to ensure, hey, in this case, at First Sergeant Vasquez has done his dental, if he's category 2 or 3, etc. It's going to have your home record. And going back a little bit, now you have the new exam, the physical exam, which is more so the ACFT. About 2 months ago, you would have the APFT in there. Right now, the SRBs and the ORBs have both of them. So you'll have your ACFT date and your APFT date. Right below, home of record. So where you came from, what you call home record. Your home of record is usually where you actually listed at in order to come to the Army. I'll have your mailing address, and then any spouse information as far as if in this case, the soldier is married to another service member. So we'll have the information in there. So that covers section 4. Section 5 is back in the middle, right around this area. It's the foreign language, right? So we have something that we call the DLAB, which is the Defense Language Aptitude Battery Test, and is a test that goes about giving you scores based on another language that you might know. So for instance, if you know Spanish, Russian, or anything like that, you get the exam, you test out on it. So whatever your scores are going to be inputted on this section right here in section 5. Nothing more than that other than that. Moving on to section 6 is your military education. So any military schools that you go to, not only non-commissioned, NCOS schools, something that we talked about previously. So air assault school, pet finder school, anything that involves an armed military school is going to be designated and put in here. It's going to have the year that was conducted, And then when you look at ACH, ACH means nothing more than achievement. So let's say, particularly more so for NCOES schools, when you go to these types of school, whether it's an E5 school, E6, if you happen to make the commandant's list, usually it's served from top 10% or whatever the total numbers of individuals who went and participated on the school. Automatically is going to give you makes commandant's list. So you'll see that identifier in there, which establishes that not only the service member went to the school and graduated in whatever year, but also he or she achieved the commandant's list. So that's something that is synonymous to tailored to the soldier and an indication that the service member went to the school and he was one of the top performers in the school. Another portion that you'll see in the military education on section 6 is going to be your BMQ. That stands for Basic Military Qualification. That's where you would see, depending on your MOS, at a minimum everybody has to qualify on their assigned weapon system. So you will see a date and a number associated with that. For your basic rifle marksmanship, when you go and qualify with your M4, of course you have to shoot anything over 23, so 23 out of 40. So you'll see that number in there, whether you're a marksman, sharpshooter, or expert, and it's going to give you a date. Underneath your BMQ, you'll see the correspondence courses. Correspondence courses are nothing more than non-residential hours of study that each individual member goes and studies for based on their MOS. And what it does is basically sustains their Army readiness throughout the progression of their rank. So that number is going to keep on adding over the course of the years, where you go from a 0 to something as like 300 or 400 correspondence courses. So every MOS is different. Some have more correspondence than others, but that's what the corresponding credit total scores are, which at times you can utilize that, and maybe you can have something as simple as an associate's degree in combination with college education. So at this time, we have covered section 4, personal and family data, section 5, foreign languages, and then section 6, which is military education. The next video you will see will cover sections 7 and 8. Thank you very much, and I hope this video was informative.
Thank you for watching our virtual SRB reading class, and special thanks to First Sergeant Vasquez for helping. We hope you learned something, and join us next week for our next installment of our Tactical Tuesdays.